What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Quick favor to ask of you. If you would be so kind as to drop me a quick message down in the comments section, let me know if there's any topics you want me to cover in a video or upcoming videos. I'd appreciate that very much. We talk a lot about the Q50, VQ37 type stuff, but maybe there's some other stuff that you're interested in hearing about. I don't know if you want to do a day in the life or you want me to read you a story or something. I don't know, but just let me know if you have any ideas and we'll see what I can do. Ooh, skyline. Anyway, I just got back from a long trip to Phoenix, Arizona. It was short, but long, you know what I mean. A little bit sick, so excuse the voice. Anyway, you see the title of the video, and I just wanted to talk real quick about why I specifically chose the Q50 with the VQ37 rather than the 2016, Q50 with the 3.0T. A lot of reasons, but they might not be what you think. I can tell you though for sure that belts breaking on the 3.0T is not going to be one of the reasons that I went with the VQ. I did a couple of videos a long time ago on the differences between the VQ and the 3.0T, but those are more outlining the differences. I want to talk specifically about why I chose the 3.7 in this video. It's a topic of conversation, and oftentimes it's kind of it gets to be a heated topic of conversation. There's always somebody talking crap on one side or the other, but here we go. Now, there's really 5 main reasons that I chose the 3.7 over the 3.0, and I'm going to outline them all and then talk a little bit about each of them in detail as we go. So let's get after it. The 5 main reasons are as follows. Number 1, accessibility. Number 2, price. Number 3, reliability. Number 4, sound. And number 5, consistency. Now, my number 1, accessibility, seems relatively self-explanatory, but what I mean about that is just the number of choices that I had in the area. And maybe I should have started with price, but accessibility is a good enough reason. These are not in any particular order, but accessibility, I mean, when I started doing my car search, I actually was kind of looking for Audi S5s, but I just really wasn't finding any in the price range or the condition that I was interested in. And Q50s, Infiniti just in general was really not on my radar. So when I started looking, I'm trying to back up here at the same time. Anyway, when I started looking, there weren't that many Q50s in my area. I looked around Charlotte, Atlanta, even Charleston, and ultimately I found one in the Greenville area, but there were definitely more 2015s available in the area than I was coming across 2016s. Like I said, my number 2 point, price, had a lot to do with it. I kind of had set a budget for myself. I had driven a company car for a long time, so when I left that company with a career change, I was in the market for a car for myself. I'm not interested in leasing. I obviously didn't want to get into a bunch of debt, and I didn't want to spend a bunch of money. But I still wanted something nice. And don't get me wrong, I've had decent cars for under $10,000 or under $5,000 for crying out loud, so I'm not opposed to that. But I kind of set a budget for myself around the 20,000 point. I wanted to stay under, but I had a little flexibility to go over if I needed to. And the cars that fell in those ranges were the 2015 and the 2016. 2017s and 18s, this was back in, what year was this? Early 2018. So those newer cars were just kind of out of the range for me, and anything older had too many miles. So I was looking for something with 25,000 miles or so or less. So really, when it started coming down to price and accessibility, those first 2 topics, or those first 2 categories, the VQ car started to pull a little bit ahead. Now, when I talk about the topic of number 3, the number 3 topic, I should say, reliability, if you're a 3.0 guy, don't get all bent out of shape. I don't mean that the 3.0 is breaking down constantly or the belts are breaking. Not worried about that. Belts break. I mean, come on. If you're prepared for it, or you know what to look for, or you're conscientious of the fact, it's not going to be that big of a problem. Unfortunately, it gets blown out of proportion in my opinion, but nonetheless. By reliability, I mean the VQ37 has proven itself and kind of established a reputation around reliability, durability, and longevity, and that speaks volumes to me. The 3.0T, I think, is starting to prove itself. Anytime you get into forced induction cars, and you deal with stuff like that, especially when you start modifying, you're going to run into problems. It's just the name of the game. It's the nature of the beast, right? But the 3.0T really hasn't been around all that long, and you know the 3.7 is tried and true. I mean, it's been around for over a decade, so has it been a decade already? So it was hard to deny the reliability aspect of the VQ, so another point. Number 4, sound. I mean, you can't get much more self-explanatory than this. The VQ 3.7 sounds way better under really any exhaust configuration than the 3.0T sounds. It's just, it is what it is. And then my final topic of consistency. What do I mean by that? Now, this isn't necessarily directed toward the Infiniti 3.0T specifically, because forced induction cars deal with this issue all the time, and that's heat soak. I really had to consider what I was going to be using this car for. I wanted it to be a daily driver, you know, anticipating having a little bit of warranty left over. You know, people will argue, and I've made a video about this too in the past, that you can get warranty claims upheld by the manufacturer. Again, it's a manufacturer issue, not a dealership issue. Even if you have a modified car, if you're good at negotiation or you're good at talking your way through the situation, but nonetheless, it's still a hassle, and I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I kind of plan on keeping the car relatively stock for 6 months to a year. That's kind of a little bit of a tangent, but anyway, what do I mean by consistency and heat soak? The VQ is known to perform, you know, pull after pull after pull after pull. The next morning start up just fine, like nothing had happened the night before. And you run into issues with heat soak, and knowing, okay, I don't mean to talk in circles, for crying out loud. Knowing that my goal for the car was to be kind of a daily driver and a weekend warrior, track events here and there, I wanted to get into autocross. I knew that I wanted something that was strong, fun to drive, but knew that it was going to perform pull after pull, or run down the track after run down the track, or as many laps as I could take on the autocross course. I wanted to know there was going to be no issues. I didn't want to do 2 passes and then have to wait for cool down. Now, no one can deny how much performance you can pull out of the 3.0T. It is pretty impressive. With minimal bolt downs in a tune, you can make over 420, 450 horsepower in some cases, with just as much torque. And that's super impressive. And like I said, you can't deny that. And I certainly would enjoy a bit more torque out of the VQ, you know, platform. It does lack in that regard. But again, I had to weigh my options, and I had to weigh the pros and cons. Considering the fact that, you know, I could do an exhaust setup, do a tune, supporting modifications like sway bars, and getting the car lowered, I knew that I'd have a really, really fun, reliable car to drive on a daily basis, and also enjoy my weekends in the mountains or at the track. And like I said, sure, I would love it to be a little more torquey. I would love to have another 50, 60 horsepower, of course. But when I add everything up as far as overall price, that consistency and performance, the beautiful exhaust note of the VQ, and all the other topics I talked about, I leaned toward the 3.7. What I forgot to talk about in the reliability part of it is that because I was looking at 2016 3.0Ts, first gen platforms always have bugs and kinks and things to work out. So not only was the reputation of reliability around the VQ a draw, the fact that the cars I was looking at in terms of 2016s being the first gen of that platform, it kind of swayed me away a little bit. Now, if I was looking at 2017, 2018s, it probably wouldn't have been as much of a concern. And maybe the 2016s now are proving themselves to not be much of a concern either. But nonetheless, in the early part of my decision-making process, the 2015s pulled ahead in that regard. Honestly, that's the same reason I wouldn't have gone with the 2014, even if the mileage was right, because I did come across a couple of those with relatively low miles and really nice price point, but I was hesitant to get into that 2014. Not that the engine hadn't proven itself, but some of the bells and whistles. That's essentially it, guys. It was those 5 main categories that I found myself kind of weighing the pros and cons in each of them. It was that accessibility and availability at the price point I was looking at, combined with the reputation of durability and longevity that the VQ 3.7 brings, coupled with a beautiful exhaust note, and of course that consistency on track days, the ability to do pass after pass, lap after lap, held a lot of weight for me. You know, if you're a 3.7 guy or you're a 3.0 T guy, let me know in the comments section below why you chose to go the route you did. Definitely interested in your feedback and your insight, and you know, what were the factors that swayed you one way or the other. Definitely curious to hear. Now, will I consider a 3.0 down the road, a pre-owned 17, 18, 19? Honestly, probably not. What, you think I want to drive one of those used cars after you guys have been beating the crap out of all of them? Hell no. But in all seriousness, for my next daily or maybe the next project car, I do want to do something forced induction. I want to make some big numbers and see what we can do and have fun with. I just don't think it'll be a Q car. I don't know. But we'll see. That's a little ways out. I still got a lot left to do with this Q50. So, you know, some things to do to it. A lot of driving events that I want to do with it. So it's a little bit down the road. Maybe not the next project car, but the next daily for sure will be a little while out. But really, guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all your support. 3,000 subscribers by the first of the year. I know we can do it. I know you can help me out. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I appreciate you following along very, very much. And we'll see you in the next video.